Prince Harry has long played the role of the tragic rebel, a man who burned down the palace gates to find a freedom he seemingly cannot handle. As 2026 unfolds, the Duke of Sussex finds himself standing at a jagged emotional crossroads, caught between a fading Hollywood relevance and a British heritage that still calls to him from across the Atlantic. For years, he has wielded his grievances like a weapon, yet now, with the dust of his legal battles finally settling and his California dream curdling into a gilded cage of isolation, he faces a choice that makes Megxit look like child's play. He is a prince without a platform, a rebel without a cause, and a man who is terrified to admit that the life he chose might be the very thing destroying him. The Great Montecito Malaise. Harry's greatest struggle is no longer the men in grey suits at Buckingham Palace, it is the silence of his own making. Reports from the start of 2026 suggest the Duke, hollowed out by the reality of his American experiment. Having traded the duty-bound structure of the monarchy for the cutthroat vanity of Montecito, Harry is discovering that without the royal the personal I is remarkably fragile. He has become a man of contradictions. He claims to crave privacy yet spends his weeks in London's High Court, reliving every tabloid trauma for the world to see. He is currently embroiled in a final, grueling legal showdown with associated newspapers, a quest for truth that many see as a desperate attempt to stay relevant in a UK he supposedly abandoned. The controversy lies in his inability to commit. He has formally listed the United States as his usually resident country in corporate filings for his travelous venture, a move that legally severs his ties to the British soil. Yet, he is simultaneously fighting a tooth-and-nail legal battle to have taxpayer-funded, armed police protection reinstated in Britain. It is the ultimate display of Sussex entitlement of a private citizen in California, but the state-funded shield of a working royal in London. He cannot face the decision to either be a commoner or a prince, so he remains a part-time royal ghost, haunting the halls of justice while his wife and children remain 5,000 miles away. A mission without a monarchy. Harry's identity has always been tethered to his service, primarily through the Invictus Games. As the 2027 Birmingham Games loom on the horizon, the Duke faces a decision that could permanently cement his exile or spark a hollow reconciliation. He has reportedly extended an olive branch to King Charles to open the Games, a move critics label as emotional blackmail. By bringing his global brand back to British soil, he is forcing the king to choose between a traitorous son and a loyal heir, Prince William. The critique here is sharp. Harry uses his charitable endeavors not just for good, but as a strategic trump card to force his way back into the royal fold on his own terms. He is a man who wants the crown's prestige without its constraints. This controversial maneuvering has left him isolated. While he wins legal damages in court, he is losing the court of public opinion. Even his U.S. visa status has become a political football, with 2026 bringing renewed scrutiny over his past admissions of drug use in his memoir, Spare. He lives in a state of perpetual pending, unable to fully embrace American citizenship because it would mean renouncing his titles, the only things that truly keep him bankable in the eyes of Netflix and Spotify. The golden handcuffs of Brand Sussex. The tragedy of Prince Harry in 2026 is that his biggest decision isn't about where he lives, but who he is. He is henpecked by the demands of a brand that requires him to be a victim to remain profitable. Every time he steps into a witness box to rail against the media, he validates the controversial label that has become his only currency. He is terrified to stop the fight. Because, without the conflict with his family and the press, what is left of Prince Harry? He is currently trapped in a loop of his own trauma. To reconcile with King Charles would mean admitting that the institution wasn't the only problem. To stay in California would mean admitting he is homesick for a life he publicly trashed. This paralysis is evident in his recent court appearances, where he was described as visibly emotional and paranoid, struggling to hold back tears as he spoke of the misery the media has supposedly inflicted on his wife. Yet, he continues to feed that very media machine with every lawsuit and exclusive insight. A prince in limbo, Prince Harry cannot face his biggest decision because that decision requires accountability. He must decide if he is a victim of the past or an architect of his future. As it stands, he is a man who has built a life on what-ifs and they-dids. He remains the most controversial figure in modern royal history precisely because he refuses to pick a side. He wants the safety of the UK, the wealth of the US, the titles of the monarchy, and the freedom of a celebrity. He is currently a prince in limbo, waiting for a security review to tell him if he's safe, waiting for a court to tell him he's right, and waiting for a father to tell him he's forgiven. But until Harry decides to stop being this spare in his own life story and starts taking responsibility for the bridges he has burned, he will remain a man who can't face his life's biggest decision, the decision to simply grow up.